surprise. Arizona going to be without DeAndre Hopkins to start the season. The league announced his 6-game suspension yesterday for violating its performance-enhancing drugs policy. Hopkins responded on social media, writing, "To learn that my November test came back with trace elements of a banned substance, I was confused and shocked. I am very mindful of what I put in my body and have always taken a holistic approach. I am working with my team to investigate how this could have happened. I apologize to Cardinals fans, my teammates, and the entire Cardinals organization." All right, Hollywood Brown, you are up to start the season. Shannon, what do you believe is the case here with Hop?
Now that Hollywood Brown situation makes perfect sense, doesn't it, Skip?
Well, better.
Yeah, now all of a sudden, I'm disappointed that DeAndre Hopkins put himself in this situation, and he said, I'm very mindful of what I put in my body. And these athletes are, Skip. They have private chefs, they have personal trainers, damn near 24 hours a day now. And so for him to make that mistake and says, how could this have happened? And for me, Skip, you trying to get to the bottom of it now? The test came back positive in November. So you had December to get to the bottom of it, January, February, March. We're in April now. No, hell, we're in May. So you had 5 months to get to the bottom of this. Now you're going to get to the bottom of it. Skip, I know it's Representative Doug Sanders. I've known Doug right out of college because he used to work with the company that I'm with now.
Yep.
And he said, he tested clean in October, tested positive in November, tested clean in December. Well, maybe he had something with a short shelf life in the system. And he just got caught at the wrong time. He got caught at excuse for lack of a better way, he got caught at the right time at the wrong moment. It's just disappointing, but Skip, there's a lot of money involved in this situation.
Yep.
There's a lot asked of these players to get on the field, be healthy. Skip, if I'm not mistaken, it was around the time he was dealing with that hamstring injury. There's a lot of pressure to get on the field and play. Remember, Skip, when you're on the field, I don't know about no knee. I don't know about no ankle, no shoulder, or no hamstring. All I see is 10, Cardinals, Hopkins. Okay, I need them numbers to be up there. So I'm very disappointed. But, Skip, I'm not surprised now that athletes are going to this because there's too much money involved, and they want to get their share of it. So this is where we are now. I'm just disappointed that DeAndre would put himself in this situation.
Likewise, but these statements they issue are just laughable to me. And the more I read this one, the worse it got, to your point, because it's 5 months ago.
Right.
And yet, does this really sound like D-Hop to you? It sounds like somebody wrote it for you. I was confused and shocked. I don't know. I am very mindful of what I put in my body. Mm-hmm. Would he say that? I don't think that's exactly what he said. I've always taken a holistic approach. Well, maybe he has, but would he say that in some sort of statement? I don't know. But the point is, I've been going through these PED suspensions for Lord knows how long. Mm-hmm. And it's always an aging player. He's going into his 10th year. He's approaching age 30. And obviously, later in the year, he suffered a career-threatening knee injury that required surgery.
Right.
It was MCL as opposed to ACL, so you got a little better shot at it. But to your point, it was earlier in the year, and he was starting to get nicked. He's starting to have hamstrings. But the beautiful thing about D-Hop was, through his first 8 years, he missed only 2 games.
Right.
So he was
durable.
Really durable. And then last year, he winds up missing 7 games, and then he had to miss, obviously, the playoff game.
Right.
They were 3 and 5 without him, which does not bode well going forward without him.
Right.
Because he is the ultimate security blanket for what's Kyler?
1.
1, yeah, number 1. I was going to 1 to 10.
Right.
So it's always something about I didn't know what I was putting in my body. But then the next part of his statement was kind of damning to me, almost an admission of guilt, because the statement goes on to say, but even as careful as I've been, clearly I wasn't careful enough. Well, so you did ingest something that triggered a positive response, right? Mm-hmm. And it was also interesting to me that Adam Schefter said on ESPN yesterday that he had already dropped his appeal process. So they accepted their punishment.
Right.
Here we go.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were going to fight to the Supreme Court over this.
And the thing is, I think the thing is, Skip, is that we all go through this as athletes. You want to try to take things that, okay, this will do this and it'll help you do that right there. And I would just always get on the phone and I would just send it to Steve Antonopoulos, who's the athletic trainer of the Broncos for 40 plus years. Or when I was in Baltimore, Bill Tessendorf, I said, what do you think, Tess? He's like, I don't know, Shannon. He said, this here has a small amount of ephedra. Well, once the Corey Stringer, you weren't allowed to take anything with ephedra.
You're talking about GNC products
that will pop you. Mm-hmm. So, and things that had, there was DHEA. Skip at that time, people didn't know what that was, but it ended up being on the list. And if you didn't read carefully, it got DHEA in there. Well, now you're going to test positive. And for me, Skip, I was always a guy that looked a certain way. So people automatically thought I was on something anyway. And Skip, it used to annoy the hell out of me because I worked so hard. Everybody knows that. Everybody will tell you that's been around me. Shannon Sharpe is the most disciplined person that I've ever met. The way he eats, the way he does things. And so I used to get upset that you would question me. And then my trainer said, Shannon, you ought to take that as a compliment. He said, the way you look like you should be taking PED. But I know you don't. And so for me, Skip, and I used to ask a Greek all the time, the athletic trainer in Denver. I like, how the hell I get tested 7, 8 times a month, and the punter get tested once, and the kicker get tested once? I said, I thought it was random. So how am I randomly in 16 weeks getting tested 7 times, and they randomly get tested 1 time a year?
Yeah.
Something ain't random about this.
Okay.
But I'm cool with it because I know I ain't on nothing. I ain't taking nothing.
Okay. DHEA. I love it. It works for my body, but I don't play football.
Right.
So
I
can buy it at GNC.
Yeah.
It's nothing to me because it's not anabolic.
Right.
It is not messing with your testosterone. It's nothing like human growth hormone.
Right.
But when we come to HGH, it can be a miracle cure for these injuries. It works. Yeah. I know I've not used it, but I've had a lot of friends. I have a lot of trainers who've used HGH who live on HGH.
Right.
I don't trust what it might do to your...
The side effects.
Like, who knows? We still don't have enough data to know. So I wouldn't ever dare to use it because I don't need it. But I get it.
But for 27 million, I damn sure be tempted to think about it. For 30, 40, 50 million, I'd be thinking, I'm hurt. Man, hey, Sharpe, this will get you...
It's a miracle healer. It's just a quicker healer where you can bounce back faster, especially as your body ages and you go toward as a wide receiver 30, year 10.
Right.
I get it. And if somebody says, I can mask this for you, I can give you something that will cover it up, and you slip up and they bust you one time.
A lot of times they get you for the masking agent.
They can do that.
Because that's what they say, like, hold on, you're taking this is the mask that. Because, Skip, they on the Olympic testing. So they know all because at first, Skip, they was diluting. You drink a gallon of water. Now you got too much water in your system. They say you're trying to dilute your sample. So now they pop you for that. And then guys were getting other guys urine. And so now they make you go down there and they pull your pants down to your ankles because other guys was having urine samples. Skip, guys was getting away with things like, bruh, really? You can't stop?
Yep. So if the NFL wants to pass a rule that everybody can use HGH, I'm okay with that.
You
it's
can't do
very
this.
dangerous. And that's the only way to level the playing field, unless you say nobody can have HGH.
And that's what they did. Basically, in 90, when the dude's collective bargain went out, they did away with all that stuff. All the anabolics went away. All that other stuff went away. But, Skip, like you said, players are starting to age, and the money is going this direction. You see 230 guaranteed. Soon it's about to be somebody going to get 300 million guaranteed. And guys want to capitalize on that. I'm just disappointed because I don't really know D. Hopkins very well. I've met him a couple of times, Skip, but I'm just disappointed that he put himself in this situation because now, people going to say, I wonder if he ever done something like this before. Now people start to question anything that you might have had success in doing. And D-Hop is better than this.
I'm hoping he just resorted to this later in his career.
Because I love the man's story. I love, I'm sorry to hear what happened to his mom and how he's always been there and he's always taking care of his family. So I have a special place in my heart for someone like a D. Hopkins. But I'm just disappointed. I am very disappointed that he would do something like this. Because if it's Skip, you know what? And everybody's like, I don't know what I take. This is what I tell guys all the time. Go get everything you took and sit it on the table. Let us see. Just let us see. Let us see what you took. Because, hey, you know what, Skip? Yeah, I might have taken something, but ain't nobody ever banned the banned substance that they got from GNC or they got from over the counter, or did they get it under the counter?
Good question. which brings us back to the football field and back to the Arizona Cardinals. And what got me about the Hollywood Brown trade was that he does work with D-Hop because he's the luxury. He's just a deep ball receiver, but he's not a possession receiver at all. So you can let D-Hop do the grinder work, you know, the underneath, you know, with the 3rd and 4 catches, you throw it to him. But over the top, you got Hollywood. Well, now all you got for a little while is Hollywood as your go-to, and that's
they did re-sign AJ. They re-signed AJ for you.
But even last year, you thought he was close to done.
Yeah, but here's the thing with D-Hop. What D-Hop allows Kyler Murray to do is to be less than perfect. Those less than perfect balls.
I agree.
That's what he's great at. Skip, when you're dealing with a smallest receiver, you got a smaller circumference in which that you can be great at. D-Hop's gonna catch the out of the almost out of bound throws way over his head. There's no way he's gonna get that. He's gonna make all the catches that very few receivers can make. So he doesn't have to be perfect with D-Hop. Dealing with a smaller receiver, you got a smaller window. Man, D-Hop,